Assalamu alaikum. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Mazan Ali Muhammad Abdel Fattah, and I would like to present to you Dr. Heba, this academic product that talk about the Swan Dam. Abstract of the Aswan High Dam. Aswan High Dam is a rockfill dam located at the northern border between Egypt and Sudan. The dam is fed by the River Nile and the reservoir forms Lake Nasser. Construction for the project began in year 1960 and was completed in year 1968. It was officially inaugurated in year 1971. The total investment for construction the dam reached $1 billion with a reservoir capacity of 132 kilometers per third. The Aswan High Dam provides water from around 33,016 kilometer per second of irrigation land. It serves the irrigation needs of both Egypt and Sudan, controls flooding, generates power, and helps in improving navigation across the Nile. High Dam. History of the Aswan High Dam. The Aswan Low Dam was constructed in year 1890 under the direction of Sir William Willox. The dam was completed in year 1902 and was raised twice between year 1997 and year 1912, followed by a further two between 1929 and 1933. The further elevate the Nile from flooding. However, the Aswan Low Dam was not adequate to control the annual flooding, which gave rise to the idea of construction a higher dam in 1952, with funding from the World Bank being sought in 1954. The US and the UK had previously tried to fund part of the project, but it didn't materialize. The US withdrew the funding, followed by the UK and the World Bank. The Soviet Union finally provided the required funds in year 1958. Construction of Aswan High Dam began in 1960. Purpose and benefits of the North Africa project. The dam was constructed to regulate the flow of the river, which serves the whole of Egypt. Flooding of the Nile occurs annually, with almost half of the water being drained into the sea wastefully. The dam controls flow by regulating the flows of river and soils water for irrigation throughout the year, which almost doubles the agriculture yield. The dam also improved navigation across the Nile, benefiting the tourism and fishing industries. Water from the dam is used to feed 12 power turbines, which provides half of Egypt's power demands. The reservoir also helps supply water during droughts. Details of the Rockville Dam project. The Aswan High Dam measure 111 meter in high and 3,000 3,1830 meter in length and has base widths of 1980 meter. The supply has a discharge capacity of 11,000 meter per third a second, and array of rocks, cement, and metals created the reservoir of the dam, measuring 550 kilometer length and 35 kilometer in width, within surface area of 5,050 square kilometers, elevation of 183 meter, and the depth of 185 meter. The reservoir has a storage capacity of 132 cubic kilometers. The dam constant of 180 Celsius gates to regulate the flow of water, achieve flood control. It also has 122 French turbines with an insulated capacity of 2,100 supply electricity for industrial and household use. The dam construction required some 44 million cubic meters of building materials and work force of about 34,000 people. Controversies surrounding Aswan High Dam. Aswan High Dam had been controversial right from its inception. The project was hit by financial controversies before its implementation, when the US and the UK and the World Bank backed out from their decision of partially funding the project. It created tension between various countries and contributed to the Cold War, when Egypt decided to fund the project by naturalizing the Suez Canal. The project came soon after the then Soviet Union funded part of the project. The dam also witnessed various oppositions due to environmental issues. The River Nile was the main source of providing silt required for irrigation along the course of the river. Issues concerning aquatic life were also raised. Great facts about of the High Dam of Aswan: more than 19,000 new pens were located as far as 45 kilometers away from their homes during the construction process. The construction of the High Dam took about 10 years until it was completed in year 1970. That you can witness during your Luxor Egypt tourist. Abru math and engineer who is called Ibn al-Haytham were given the task of regulation the flooding of the Nile by the Fatimid al-Hakim Fatimid Caliph al-Hakim بأمر الحاكم in 1912. Greek Egyptian engineer Adrian Dances presented a plan for construction the High Dam, but King Farouk didn't like idea. Gamal Abdel Nasser was the one who really wanted to store the water of Egypt through construction the High Dam. Soviets offered President Gamal 1,012,000,000 to construct the dams as he needed support. The dam also protected Egypt from the droughts that devastated East and West Africa in 1972 and 1973 and 1983 and 1987. It crosses the River Nile, which is the longest river in the world. It provides about half of the total supply of power in Egypt. It generates about 10 billion kilometers per hour of hydroelectric power. Lake Nasser was constructed by the High Dam. Positive effect of the High Dam. The High Dam succeeded in protecting Egypt from the devastating consequences of high floods from the droughts and famines caused by the scare floods. For example, protecting the country from the dangers of the high floods, such as the devastating flood of the 1964, the most serious flooding of years 1975 and 1986 and 1998 and 2002. Egypt was exposed to the risk of drought over 10 years and 1978 to 1987, during which 80 billion cubic meters of the dam water reservoirs in Lake Nasser were withdrawn. Development of the agriculture sector in Egypt. The High Dam worked to increase Egypt's share of the Nile water, which has become 55 billion cubic meters annually, which contributed to increase the area of agricultural land about 1 billion to acres from 55 to 78 million acres. He also worked to achieve vertical expansion and as a result of saving water, which allows three agriculture cycles each year, and the expansion of the cultivation of crops that need large quantities of annually, and the cultivation of sugar cane. He also worked on the organization of irrigation, which led to the conversion of areas that were cultivated irrigation system basin, which in 70,000 acres to the irrigation system Beeman. Saving electricity over the first 10 years of its construction. The High Dam power station provides Egypt with about 60 per hundred of its electricity needs, with a total capacity of 2,100 and the volume electricity production was 80,053 million kilowatt of the total power generated for Egypt. Kilowatt generated for Egypt, which amounted to 50,012. In addition to its role in ensuring the regular full operation of the Aswan Reservoir Station by providing a constant level throughout the year, This energy has contributed to the industrial development witnessed by the country after the implementation of the dam project, and has played an active role in social development after the implementation of the Royal Electronation project. Negative effects of the high dam. The sinking of Nubia. Lake Nasser flooded many Nubian villages in Egypt and northern Sudan, which led to the deportation of these people. The so-called Nubian migration and sank the land of the Nubia and its monuments. The land of Nubia and its ancient monuments sank, making it necessary to move them in order to preserve them from drowning. The organization responded and set up a conference on saving the monuments of the Nubia region, and the organization asked the world to help in that hack project. The monuments were transferred, the most important of which was the transfer of the temple of Abu Simbel, which was on one of the most difficult transfers of building in history, depriving the Nile Valley of the flood silt. The high dam has been confined to the flooding mud that feeds the Nile Valley soil in Lake Nasser, which has lost much of its fertility and reduced its productivity. This has led to increased demand for agricultural fertilizers. The shortage of silt has led to an increase in erosion. The store of the Nile Delta coast in Egypt. Loss of large amount of Lake Nasser water due to evaporation. The reason is that the surface of the water in Lake Nasser, with its large area of the sun, is exposed in a very hot climate, in addition to the emergence and speed of some plants in the region, and adapt to new conditions and contribute to the transportation process, and just a shift more